Greetings. I'm getting things loading up here, getting all the tech going. Let me screen share here. Share screen. So we want. Maybe that's it. We'll see. Okay, so don't forget, make sure you're putting in the chat your first name and what county on Indiana you call home today. We want to welcome you. And then you'll also be in the assembly agenda for the record. Let's get pre-conference call for those, so that also gets the podcast portion for the assembly, and for those in free. And I've got to get into free conference call myself, so that we have that as well. Okay, get things going. And again, those that are on whatever platform you're on, you're my feedback to let me know if sound and video screen sharing things are working well, so we can make sure and get this working, hopefully. All right. So
you're the only participant in the conference.
And that other should be for the
recording has started.
Radio part. Okay, so that should be there. Let's see what Telegram is showing. Telegram is still showing pre-conference call. Well, let me stop sharing on that for a minute till we. Oh, hold on. On Telegram. Stop. Oh, it keeps going back to that. That's not what I want. Oh, because it's down here. Okay. So let's see. What would be this screen I want? Free conference call. So all that goes through free conference call for Telegram. Now we'll do Telegram or free conference call to share the desktop. Share computer sound. Okay, that's a new one. Okay, so there's that. So that we can eventually get over to here for the agenda. Oh, and now we got to make sure Rumble screen shares. That's important too. Let's see. Here we go. Let's screen share on Rumble. All right. Okay. So again, no if about it. Make sure if you're, whatever platform you're on, put what county that you're on. And welcome. All right. I see in Rumble, we've got John on Carroll County. Yes, you can hear on YouTube. So you are all on YouTube. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that you're on YouTube. So that I can make sure and include on YouTube. And you are Carroll County. Welcome. Hope everyone is doing well. All right. And then now that's on YouTube. Now on Telegram, we have, you got to put your county in. Let's see. Where's the thing for chat? I'm not sure how that part goes. Let me do that and see if that helps you out to give you access to at least say something on. I know you haven't had a problem before speaking on the call, so if you want to just speak up and just let us know what county you're on. Is that Johnny? I see. Hey, all right. What county are you on, dear? Do you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me. Why not? Huh. Can you hear me now? Huh. Can you hear me? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't even see you.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you to stop it.
Can you hear me now, though? Hello? Hello? Are you able to hear me now? Can you hear me? It shows on the thing that it's got that it's green, showing that I'm speaking. I'm not able to do the video because it doesn't share well with all the other cameras going. But I can show this. Maybe that'll help. Hi. Okay, you can see me now?
I can't hear you though.
But you can't hear me. Why not? It shows everything's moving. Now, okay, so hold on. So we know, sore throat. We know YouTube is hearing us. So maybe it's, I don't know what to tell you. I
can see you though.
It must be on your side because YouTube is able to hear me.
It doesn't say your mic is muted.
So it's showing talking on my side.
Is your volume down? Or is your speaker connected?
This is on your end.
I don't know.
This is your end. This is on your end, honey. Dear, sorry. I've got to go ahead and get going because I do have where YouTube is confirmed that they can hear me. So I've got to go ahead and get things moving at this point. So you'll have to go back to the recording or at least follow along. Maybe you can pop out and come back in or something. But I'm not going to have to be, I'm not going to be able to continue to keep following that along. Let's see. And we want this one. Okay. All right. So let's screen share on Rumble. All right, I want to welcome everyone. I am Christine Van Pelt, State Coordinator for the Indiana Assembly, and it is Monday, April the 15th, 2024. And this is the General Assembly, and we are in session as well as the Militia Assembly meets with us at the same time. So we want to go ahead and take time now for a moment to honor our Creator. I'm going to make sure we remember what time we're in now. Okay, religions are of the past. Just about religions are of the past. and we're not able to stick with those religions. It's about going within to be able to go to the creator within us. And are you going for the creator of love, or are you going for the creator of hate? We're here for the creator of love. We have a disclaimer. We are engaged in the practice of self-government. Everyone here is volunteering their precious time and skill. Each one is an American with rights and prerogatives equal to your own. They are doing this work out of mutual necessity to restore the lawful American government. Demands for service, temper tantrums, and misplaced anger are inappropriate. This country does not belong to its government. The country belongs to the people who live here, and you are one of them. All right, so we have the Bivens decision. Again, this is also why you should present with your name and what county in Indiana that you live on. But as for information you'll post side, if you are, it's not that you're not forefront. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the first time? Hearing and seeing none. See in here, it's up a little there. All right. Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the second time? Hearing and seeing none. Any response for the Bivens decision for the third and final time? Hearing and seeing none. Further, anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the call. We have the right to peacefully assemble, and that's what we're doing, is peacefully assembling. All right. So and afterwards, which you saw in the YouTube description, there's a link to where all the agendas for these calls will be shortly after the call. If I don't have time then later to go and to post it to the assembly website yet, but at least I'll try later in the evening to be able to make sure I at least get that this presentation up. But that gives me time to get the list of people who are on the counties that joined us. And but here is the agenda. You'll see page numbers here, as well as these are links that will take you to those slides so that you have that information available to you. There's a lot of things that, while it's a lot of repetitive information, it's because it's to help you with changing the programming. Okay. And the more you have the repetition, the more it's going to stay in and help support you. All right, again, this is the 15th of April, Monday the 6th. It's the General Assembly, Militia Assembly for 2024. I am Christine on Gibson County. We already know that we have John on Carroll County with us on YouTube, and we have Johnny on Hendricks County on Telegram. Hopefully, he may have to bump out of the call and come back in for his sound to be able to work. I'm not sure. But again, this is where having state, national, or state citizens with tech support to be able to start stepping up to be able to help support monitoring these would be awesome. But again, you have to verify yourself. We go by hearsays and I said you said so's. So that would be greatly helpful. I mean, if you just wanted to do one platform or if you wanted to support with multiple, but more on that later. So we do want to make sure this was not so much a last thought, but I had already had the agenda and I was going through the all state coordinator material from the Federation and wanted to remember that Anna's husband, James, he had fallen and broken his hip. I think it was his hip, and he had been in rehabilitation. So now they're moving him to a better facility, but their goal is to actually move him home. He is improving. It's not like he's gone downhill or anything like that. He's improving. Be able to get him home. He's always already, obviously he's going to get the best care being at home. And so these are ways this is the best way to get Anna support directly to be able to help her. And that's through Cash App. And here is her link. This evening, we're going to go through the county updates, an update on the new general member orientation training course, calls to action, another review of the Florida elections process, or at least briefly discuss it, Anna's current articles, and then information from the militia. And then just so don't forget, because we don't want to, seeing a DA without having a date, we want to make sure we have our next dates included. So the next General Assembly call will be May the 6th, 29th. There is no calling on Mondays of the month. Now, there is a survey going out to all those that have verified their email address with the current newsletter system within the last few weeks. With the current newsletter system, there's an email that's gone out that's asked you to be able to let me know when would be a good day and time for you to be able to actually show up for the calls, so that we can compile and then present the top 3 to the General Assembly to have a vote to be able to change, to be able to have a better day and time. But you have to step up and answer the question, so we can at least get this process started to see how we can find a better day and time where people can actually come to the call. So that's why it's important to actually open your emails when you receive them. Okay, again, so the next General Assembly is May 6th, and the next Jural Assembly is next week, the 22nd, with no call. Reminder from Article 3014, orientation for newbies, which if you do a search at Search Audubon Rights for orientation or newbies, which some of this material is coming to you, but has a lot of how to help you get on board as well. But this is coming together into the trainings. But of course, we're self-governing, so the quicker you can get on it and start helping yourself and learning this information, the better as well. Stop waiting around. Well, I'll wait till it gets done for me. Okay. So we have things to remember: logic and laws of freedom. Every man and woman is born free and deserves to live and die free. Everyone is responsible for him or herself, for what we think and what we do. With every right comes a responsibility. Our individual rights end where another's rights begin. Rights and freedoms that are not exercised are moot. When we enslave another, we enslave ourselves. We are responsible for directing those we employ. If we don't like something, it's up to our duty to keep it. If we are bogged down, it's our job to climb over or dig under. If we cherish our own rights, we must cherish of others. If we cherish our own freedom, we must cherish the freedom of others. Okay? Some points to remember, right? We want to make sure that you remember that this is not a fix it for everything. It's not a recognize but don't. You have to actually learn, you have to actually take in the knowledge so that you can articulate what it is that you do know. You're not going to hide behind a plastic card. You're not going to hide behind a phone a friend. You have to actually do the paperwork. Then you have to actually do the homework to understand what jurisdiction you are in and how to be able to support yourself. Many are under the illusion that this is their get out of jail free card, or whatever, get out of whatever problem free. Or they're looking to collect IDs from all these different different groups so they can say they're all a part of this, so they can try to reap the benefit of what they have to offer, right? We need to be reminded that nationality is birthright, but it's not just a choice. So if you do want to join, you have to be, you're going to go to work. Okay? This is not about being, this is not a social club. We all have work to do. All right? We have to build our own house here. Okay? It's been over 150 years. Anne has a great article or a webinar where she went through a illustration, and I think she even put it into an article of thinking about that that you came home after so many years to the family home, and it's been it's covered in dust, no one's been there for a while, and you got to come in, you got to open it up, got to check it out, see how are the footings, how's the roof, how is the structure, what needs to be done, what needs to be cleaned up, how you can get it back into place. And everybody just picks up and starts. It's not a, well, only this one can do this and only this one can do that. We all pick up and start, and it's not about, well, we just all come over and hang out at so-and-so's house while they do the cleanup and the work. We want to just watch them. This is all of us. Okay. So, but it's also, boundaries have to be set. You're not going to just be able to wreak havoc in this space. Coordinator's mission, because we're all actually supposed to be coordinating and supporting from the perspective that we have to coordinate ourselves. We have to coordinate our time to figure out when we're going to do the paperwork, do the homework, how we're going to be able to start thinking about how to bring it into your everyday life, how you're going to be able to connect with other people so that you can be able to share the message too. So we cannot fail. We are willing and able to do this work physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We have resolve and determination. We walk the talk and work every day to bring the du jour into reality. We have excellent tools to complete our work. We set realistic and achievable goals. We learn and research constantly. We have a timeline. There's no reason why it can't be this year. We're Indianians. Ex parte Milligan's whole case occurred on Indiana. We are the light bearers. Why are we not leading the way? We should be much further along than this. And I can't do it all. There's no way I can't do it. I cannot act in the capacities of what has to be done. It has to come from you all. There's only so much I can actually do as state coordinator, albeit I can wear several hats, but there are some hats I just cannot wear as state coordinator. It's not possible. It has to come from you. And we track our progress. We measure our strengths and weaknesses. We continually improve and revise accordingly. We conduct ourselves with peace and love. So things you need to think about are making of being alert and aware of possible infiltrators or those that are just deeply indoctrinated. But don't let the Christianity world of the glossiness of thinking, well, they're just deeply indoctrinated, and gloss over some things. One, do not give excuses for other people's behavior. That's not your responsibility to take on, nor do you have the right to impose that on someone else on behalf of someone else's bad behavior. So things to think, but it's because they're twisted little games that they play, right? So here's more information about things to take notice of, as well as here are a list of modus operandi of those that have whether they were infiltrators or they were deeply indoctrinated. And they always start with having a problem with the coordinator because they don't want to do something the coordinator has said that needs to be done. That's the verification of the status correction that everybody goes through. They're sure that they're coming in differently because they say they're a citizen. They went somewhere else to some other state to get their paperwork done, had someone else do their paperwork for them, but they're going to step up and help on their state. What can I do? But refuse to present the paperwork that verifies the status correction. That doesn't happen here. We don't play those games. So here are some, and don't even think you're going to try. It's not going to cross through the door. So here are more signs about it, because they're all childish games to see how far they can move forward without having to actually provide anything that would be giving anything from them, for them to bring forward trust. They want to demand everything from you, but they don't even know what name they're coming in yet still. They go with 5 different names that they're trying to work with. Still love them, but paperwork is correct. They're not moving forward. And that's for everyone. Okay, so the mission statement, it outlines 7 specific things that this assembly and all state assemblies are to do, because every state assembly is using the same mission statement, because this is the directive from the Federation as to what the assembly's mission is. And the very first thing is what needs to be in play. We need to get moving on this. Our Indiana Assembly is dedicated to the restoration of a complete and fully operational land and soil jurisdiction, state and county court system serving the people of Indiana. This is the place that is going to give the most people help, as well as once the courts are in session, that's when Indiana Assembly and its assembly is recognized as an actual government on Indiana. Okay? To be able to support you even more. Again, you have to get involved. You have to actively support bringing this together. We, the people, of, by, and for the people. All right, continue on. The preservation of the national trust, the enforcement of the public law, the upholding of the federal constitution owed to our state and people, the repopulation of our land and soil jurisdiction, the filling of vacated public offices, and the reclamation of our material and intellectual public and private assets. And that's a lot of work to be done within that, right? To these ends, we, the living people of Indiana, have called the eligible Indiana nationals and citizen electors to assemble and to serve as jurors and officers, and we have established the process and procedure to qualify jurors and others competent to hold state citizenship and public office. We do this peacefully and without rancor in the exercise of our unincorporated powers and capacity. So while you have a choice of your declaring whether you're a national or a citizen, there's still a process you have to follow, whether you're a national or a citizen. You still have to follow it. It's not you can play one or the other, but I've made a choice and you have to honor everything else for me to do. No, you have an actual process that has to be done with each. That's for everyone. It's across the board. So it's not, no one's trying to hurt anyone's feelings here. It's making sure that you're safe just as well as the assembly is safe, and all those that have already corrected their status are safe. And of course, we have the outreach mission. Our mission is help people understand who they are. That comes with also knowing your own name. You'd be surprised how many people are not clear on their own name. I myself, from 2016 to 2018, took the longest time working through my name. So, and especially for women, because it's very confusing with the whole name change thing. And you have to get clarity on what your name is. And many that did stay with their own name, didn't have any name changes, shorten it in some way. Anyway, so who they are, knowing who they are, why they were misidentified as U.S. citizens of the United States, and provide a solution by correcting their political status, joining the Indiana Assembly, including home county assembly, and becoming actively involved in restoring the Republican form of government we are owed. We do this through a combination of consulting, facilitation, and training services that provide the optimal benefits of the future American. But again, it's helpful to show up so that you can meet others. And if there aren't others on the call, well, hold down the fort and still be there. Still show and be that example. Be that light bearer then to show the way. Be the example. You're not leaving anybody behind. You're actually trying to help them find their way. Right? All right, the value statements. We stand under the laws of nature. The laws of nature's God, the 10 Commandments, the Declaration of Independence. We accept the fiduciary responsibility of the Indiana Trust and operate under the prudent man standard. I mean, we treat our state business as if it were our own business, but not with any personal gain. No personal gain. We keep the peace and hold public law. We report crime. We value each man and woman as a unique creation of our Creator and recognize them as a powerful co-creator. We willingly choose to self-govern and strive to show up as our best self in each and every experience. Right? You're not just showing up because we just want to see what everybody else is doing. You're actually showing up alert, attentive, wanting to actually participate and be involved in the entire experience. We do not and we will not condone or participate in any form of insurrection, rebellion, or creation of armed forces other than the lawful state assemblies. Assembly militias operated as they're supposed to be operated within each state, and our land-based Continental Marshal Service, which is our jurisdictional interface with the U.S. Marshal Service. We perform under the treaties and constitutional agreements already established and for supporting the restored American government, the reconstruction thereof, and will become responsible for the conduct and restored Confederation, the Federal Republic. Also, a reminder with the foundational documents for the status correction, we have there has been someone on that has made comments on the social media channels that we stream to about randomly, well, there's so many on my county, I just need 2 people to sign as witnesses for me. Well, already that's why nobody is going to do that, because the purpose of the witness testimonies is they have to know you for a minimum of 7 years. It's not about some random person saying that they know you right in this moment. Okay? So that should be very clear. This has been covered many, many times, many times. And you have to status correct before you can get to work for the work to be recognized. All right, so here are assembly documents. Here's the assembly affirmation of purpose and conduct for you to read through. And if you're wanting to join the assembly and participate with the assembly, then you will read that through and you'll put your autograph to it and send it to the records email, records@theindianaassembly.org. And that is not a contract. That is you agreeing to how you are, what your purpose is and how you'll handle yourself and your conduct. There's also then the contact information. That's your information to give to the assembly that is for the General Assembly, the Jural Assembly, and the Militia Assembly. There is various information that has to be spread so that, because everybody is a part of the General Assembly, the Jural Assembly, and the Militia Assembly. Indiana Assembly men and women's, and that again, what your contact info again would be sent to records@theindianaassembly.org. Now, the Indiana Assembly men and women points of order, that's for your records, for you to keep at home, but read it because that's how to be able to help support you and how to handle your conduct within the calls. We've had poor examples of how behaviors are with the de facto. No platitudes here and no stonewalling, no time wasters. We actually have business that we have to maintain to keep moving forward. Then there's the assembly militia standards and principles. That too, that's directly from the Federation as far as supporting how to handle ourselves within the militia. And standard operating procedures templates for the committees, so that once the General Assembly assigns projects to the committees, then those standard operating procedures template, you put that plan, it's a plan to how to work and move it forward that actually has an end date with deliverables so that there is no stalling. Here are articles that are important that you need to listen to the audio on Rumble or YouTube. But here, yes, it is your public duty to support within your assembly. Committees, the way we work, and recommended committee structure template. Those are all, because all the work is actually done within the committees. And then here's information about the call to public office, bearing public office. So support to be able to give you some more ideas on what it would entail from the land and soil perspective. And again, we're all volunteers, so don't look for a paycheck. Again, there's no employees or employers that are being mafiaed in to steal the pay, and there's no IRS in it. Okay, so it's of, by, and for the people. And then the list of what's the different offices that need to be filled, and that is also within our mission statement is we have to fill vacated public offices. Here are important reasons. Law of peace. There's actually a manual for law of peace, just like there's a manual for the law of war. This is the law of peace that is owed to us. Common Law Community Training Manual. This is we finished that last week, reading through that on the Jural Assembly call, going through the some basics of working through the process of the courts. That's the full PDF of it, as well as these articles by Anna, reminding that you have three choices. You can use the way here as it is on the land and soil, or you can have your district or municipal assembly. That your district assembly will keep you with your wars and battles going on, and your municipal assembly will keep you with that cradle to grave. But it's not happening here on the land and soil. Plan is to go to Faith Monument in Philadelphia, November 11th of this year. So here are two videos, a short TikTok, as well as then a longer documentary, both by Kirk Cameron, explaining the Faith Monument and our foundations with America. Communication link. This is the role we're filling. This is a great page, one pager for you to put out, and you can be able to be reading. And then it's also a great conversation starter. And then you have all the information right there. Again, the state assembly, 21 years of age, state national or state citizen, permanent home in your home state, have lived on your home state for at least a year and a day. Many people, for some crazy reason, have decided to email to say that they're homeless, but they're still wanting to hold to being nationals on state of Indiana. And but you just stated you're homeless. You have to have a permanent home on Indiana in order to, it's not your vacation home, and it's not where you were born, where you've lived before, or where you plan to live. It's your permanent home today. Then we go through, we've got the four pillars: General Assembly, Business Assembly, Jural, and Militia. And those go into more details. A reminder that there's only one lawful assembly. There are not 5 or 6 different assemblies for Indiana that's all connected with the American States Assembly, the Federation of States. No. This is the only one that's the Federation with the Federation. And here's more detailed reminder of the 3 choices. You have first land and soil. You have in favor of everything. So everybody is a part of the General Assembly call. Okay. Even if you haven't presented status correction paperwork yet, but yet you do have a permanent home on Indiana, you're eligible to come to the General Assembly calls, the Jural Assembly and Militia Assembly. And there's a lot of things that you can still do, but also there's a lot of things that until you present your status correction that you're not going to be able to participate with. But everyone is a part of those that are on Indiana. That we're a community, a family. We're supposed to all be doing this as all together as the people, not just select. I was talking with my meeting here in our town, and I told my husband, I said, have you noticed that every time they have their meeting, it's the same cars. It's the same exact cars, but you don't see any of the actual people from the community in those meetings. Very interesting. And then, but it is a little peaceful town here, but you can tell there's very few that are those that maintain it. But again, it's the people need to wake up and show up. If you're not going to be land and soil, step up in your own community and, in your own. If you're not going to participate with land and soil, go to those district and municipal meetings and do the course correction for the, support them in that. Here's a visual of the different offices within the different pillars, so you can get an idea of where this rolls. All right, updated map of the counties. Let me do it, see if there's any comments, questions real quick as I'm going. Let's see. All right. Great, Johnny. You were able to move over to Rumble. Hopefully you're able to hear me at this point. So we're gonna, yeah, right, John. It's we are so programmed that we must be a team, a leader, and followers in all aspects. Absolutely. And also, again, the more we come together, we can help be the true accountability partners that they tried to teach us in church, right? The true accountability partners with each other to help us when we slip into the bad vocabulary. That's the program. It's not, well, for us, it's bad. The old programming. It's so that we can be able to help each other. It's not about hurting each other's feelings. It's about helping each other in that remembering of course correction. Because while you're also helping someone to remember, it's helping you to also be there to be able to help remember yourself, not to fall into those, like accidentally saying vehicle instead of car or truck or automobile. The simple things that, when we start changing our vocabulary, those around us, like I said, we're light bearers. We're supposed to be that example, right? So when we start even with the simple things of just changing our verbiage, they'll start recognizing that, right? And even when they're talking and they go in and say vehicle, oh, an auto, and start helping, they'll start and be that example. You're not leaving anyone behind. I had someone think that they were leaving someone behind, and I was like, we're supposed to be the example. We're not actually leaving anyone behind. We're that example. We're supposed to help show the way, because not everybody's ready at the same time that we are, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and get back to this. Let me pop this. Oh, screen share this back up. All right, so I went through and updated. Like I said, I updated the counties. Okay, so we have the counties that are in green. They have at least one that have stepped up on their county and presented the minimum status correction paperwork, the bare minimums. 2 notarized witness testimonies, birth certificate, any supporting name changes, and verification of living on Indiana, and current photo ID, and the 1779 declaration. Bare minimum. Those that have presented, there's been at least one on each of the counties in green. The ones that are in yellow have somebody, at least one, has at least spoken up that they want more information, but they have not presented yet. And then the ones that are in white are ones that have not, there's nobody on those counties yet that have spoken up at all. So those in the green or in the yellow, or especially those in the green, since you're papered up, you have, start talking to the counties around you as well. Start reaching out, right? We are here to outreach. We all are a part of outreach to help support each other. So there's updated as of today. And then here is the breakdown by county as to how many on that county, and that whether they're a national citizen, federal person, or if in process. Now, we have 103 that have that are in the LRO, that when they created their account or when they connected, they presented no information of what county that they currently live on. So there's 133 in there that we have no idea what county that they actually live on Indiana at this point. So they still have to be included in the numbers. But then you have that 133 is included in the 443 number for that which is in process. So the difference of that are, we know what county that they're on. And again, like in the map up here, that which is green, you'll see that they've got it on the county and whether they declare it as national or citizen. That doesn't necessarily mean they've completed paperwork as a citizen, because many think that because they got their declaration of political status notarized that they're done and didn't follow through with sending it to Secretary of State, U.S. Secretary of State, and U.S. Assistant Secretary of Consular Affairs. Or they did, but haven't presented that information with proof of postage paid to the assembly to show that they've completed that. Those are all required. And remember, as a citizen, you have that already. You have an obligation to serve to support the assembly. Okay, it's not like the U.S. where you just stand around as a U.S. citizen all the time. Okay, so here you have those numbers. All right, so I'm going to go through and then run through a few things here, and we'll be wrapping it up for this evening. So let's move over here. Should be, yeah, and hopefully, yeah, okay. All right, so from around the world, the word has spread and is ping-ponging back and forth simply because the message is so incredible, so anti-intuitive. Yes, for every one objectively worthless Federal Reserve note you put on in the Global Family Bank Safety Vault, you will receive one American Federation dollar. Now, again, bear in mind, you have to be status corrected in order to receive American Federation dollars. You can't just speak up and say you live on one of the 50 states, you want American Federation dollars. No, you have to actually present status correction to receive it. Each American Federation dollar begins trading at 1 AFD per 180 Federal Reserve notes, which will update to the current rate of 1 AFD per 234 Federal Reserve notes, and continue to fluctuate accordingly to daily exchange rate variations. This is where the duh comes in. Wait a minute, you're telling me that I can give you a $1 Federal Reserve note, which is objectively and legally worthless, and in exchange, you'll give me an AFD, which is gold-backed and worth at the current exchange rate of a whopping $234. Yes. To understand this, you have to go back to 1934 when Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the president of the U.S. Inc., removed the gold standard entirely and via the Emergency Banking Act established a dollar-for-dollar exchange rate on our silver money. At that time, the FRN was defined as being equal in value as an IOU to the United States silver dollar. As a result of this inequitable and coerced trade that was enforced under color of law, you, Joe American, lost the seigniorage owed on your currency, lost the investment value of both your gold and silver, and the legal tender you were forced to use as substitute underwent round after round of inflationary devaluation and taxation until the actual trade value of the Federal Reserve note is less than half of 1 cent. Take that in. Less than half of 1 cent. It literally costs several times more to print each such Federal Reserve note than it's worth. Good old Joe American has been taking it in the entire time ever since the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. It's been lose, 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 lose until now, when that loss is to be made up to you. That's why you get an AFD defined as 1/10 ounce of pure gold for every worthless Federal Reserve note you turn in. The difference in value is just part of what you are owed, a means to start evening up the situation and transition you over to an asset-backed currency. This is only for living people who reclaim their birthright and return to the land and soil of their home country. not corporations, not foreign persons. We hope this makes it clear what the one-to-one exchange rate is about and why you're getting such a deal. So again, you have to status correct. All right. In order to be able to access that. Now, if you have in the last few weeks have updated to the new email newsletter server, you will have received information on how to be able to get started with that so that you can be prepared. So as you status correct, you'll be ready to move forward with that. And my husband and I, we each have our own account, and so far each month a 5,000 AFD disbursement has been posted to the account. Once the global family frees up the ability to make international wire transfers and using the QR code, which this month they gave you ability to be able to create your QR code. But in the meantime, you're also contacting your bank, seeing if they take international wire transfers, and start connecting with your local vendors to see if and or when they'll be accepting QR codes for forms of payment. Walmart doesn't have it yet, but they are using it with their employees. So that's why you'll see that there's QR codes on their scanners or on the pad thing, because it is for their employees, because they're starting with that to see how that works before they transition to the customers being able to use it. All right. So again, within the email information gives you the steps to be able to support getting you into that process. But again, you have to be status corrected. All right. So here is the other article from Anna. So let me turn the camera off because you don't need to see me in that part, and we'll get it playing.
Text-to-speech synthesis provided by Speechify.
A pause to consider. Please direct your attention to the fact that energy impresses itself on matter. This means that our energy, which we project, literally, creates matter and determines its form. That puts a different spin on the oft-repeated phrase, children of God. It also explains why we each encapsulate about 33 trillion, with a T, volts of electricity within our bodies, and why, when an egg is fertilized, the event is marked by a tiny flash of light. We are creators, and we are creating and using energy to do this every single day, but thinking nothing of it. We create like water flows downhill. We aren't even aware that we are doing it. And there's the rub. Take a look at the world that we are collectively, as a mass population, creating. Ask yourself, is this what we want? Death, destruction, constant fighting, pollution, upheaval, lies, and oppression of every kind? Rats in a trap would be better behaved than our politicians. So what this airy-fairy talk about changing your frequency and ascending is all about, is really about changing what you create by changing the energy you project. Start radiating love instead of hate, and see what happens. Start working on your own bad habits, gossiping, lying, fear-mongering. Just stop doing those things which are well within your control, and see the change in your own life and the lives of people around you. Are you lonely? I was too. I grew up as an only child out in the country. My sister was 13 years older than I and left home when I was 5, so my closest companion was the family dog. When I went to school, I was too shy and too average looking to attract any attention, so although I was doing well enough academically, I wasn't making the social grade. By Christmas time, I still didn't have anyone I could call a friend, maybe a few sparks. Hi, how are you? But not there yet. The long Christmas vacation dragged on that year with many snow-filled days and nights. I still enjoyed my sled and romping with the dog and ice skating on my father's deliberately constructed ice rink. But Dad was at work, Mom was too fragile to play, and I was alone, or as I saw it, I was the tail end of an era. All the other kids in the family were already doing things like getting married, joining the Navy, and going to college, and there I was, fighting with new socks. What do you want for Christmas? My mother asked a few days before the big event. A friend, I said. She answered, a little put off. You can't just go down to the hardware store and buy one of those. To be fair, I was always a difficult child. Well, she said finally, you know that to have a friend, You must be a friend first. No, I didn't know that. I never thought about it in terms of energy dynamics. I just observed that everyone else seemed to be part of some web of life that was closed to me. From that moment on, I learned to smile, to greet, to be pleased with life. I learned to view strangers as potential friends. I got over my awkwardness. I discovered a latent talent for slapstick comedy. By the end of the school year, you could even say that I had become mildly popular, and had half a dozen pals who welcomed the ugly duckling when I got off the school bus each day. This change was due to one thing. I changed my energy from being needy to giving, from being closed off to caring. What the world needs now, desperately, is that kind of change, and it is a change each one of us can make. By an act of will, we can smile. We can have faith in our vision of the future. We can afford to help someone else. We can create change in ourselves, so we can create change in the world we are creating. Recently, I asked everyone to just concentrate on one simple thing: stop lying, and see what happens. Already, the reports are coming in, and most people who took on this challenge are shocked by how often they caught themselves fibbing about small things, but fibbing nonetheless. There have also been reports of major discoveries, people realizing that their marriage was on the rocks and needed rescue efforts, realizing that a child had grown estranged for unknown reasons, suddenly knowing that a career change was necessary. Consciously making the effort to tell the truth has a way of illuminating things, just as making the conscious effort to be friendly draws friends into your life. We don't always think or remember that making small changes in ourselves can create big changes in the world around us, but this is so. It's the reason that giant advertising firms spend billions of dollars analyzing consumer preferences. What do you want to buy with your energy today? Friendship or violence? Truth or lies? It's your energy, and your choice of how you spend it. Once you start paying attention, really observing, you will notice odd things, like how a single friendly smiling postal clerk, literally, day after day, changes a dingy little post office into a haven of peace and joy and affirmation for his customers. Just by his attitude, his will to help, his joyful energy projected outward, he changes the world. It was December, the peak of the postal traffic season for the whole year. Michael was up to his knees in mail and boxes were stacked head high all around him. And there he was, taking time to add tape to a box for a woman bent with age and poverty, reassuring her that it would get to its destination. He was smiling anyway. He was caring anyway. He was creating his own little energetic space where all the pushing and shoving energy of the season and the pressure of his job was held at bay. As he turned and put her box on the top of his stack of boxes, she also turned away with a smile on her face. Such a simple thing, putting some extra tape on a box, yet there it was, the magic of life, the miracle of our kinship revealed, in perhaps 30 seconds of extra care and kindness. You can do this, too. And so can I. If we stop a moment, pause, and make this our goal each day, we, too, can change the world, change our energy, and change the space in which we live. I talked with Michael once about how he is always so bright and sunny in the midst of chaos. He just grinned and shrugged, and said, it beats the alternative. He's right, as usual. It does no good to despair, to be glum, to wallow in any sort of self-pity. So he doesn't do that, and as a result, he pulls himself and everyone else upward. On another occasion, I was having a bad day and was somewhat miffed, and I asked him what was his secret source of joy. He paused. Well, I'm alive. I am in pretty good health for my age. I have a decent job. I have friends and family. He rattled off a short list and shot me a look like, what else is there? Why shouldn't I be happy? Now, you might think that Michael is a little dim, to be happy with a mundane life and work as a postal clerk, but he's as bright on average as any of the rest of us. The difference is entirely in his attitude, and in the energy he projects. He is in a constant state of joy, because he is grateful for all that he has, and that joy acts like an infectious agent, touching the lives of everyone who buys a stamp or sends a package. I have stood in the lobby of the post office and watched the people dragging their steps through the door. They are tired and poor. Their feet hurt. They have a parent-teacher meeting to go through. Their faces are as gray and haggard as the scudding clouds in April. They have their 30 seconds at the counter with Michael, and the miracle happens again and again. They come out of the post office as changed men and women. They stand more erect. They are walking with confidence. They are alert. And they are smiling. I, standing there in the lobby, observing this, had cause to wonder, wait, what happened? Michael gave them an injection of his boundless agape love. What would happen if we all took the plunge and made the pledge to be less self-concerned, more open, more caring, more friendly? What if we smiled more and complained less? What if we always told the truth? Then we would be beacons of comfort and hope, stalwart and imperturbable, infecting the world with joy and wisdom. Because it makes no sense to create more of what we don't want. And by our own simple, individual decision and action, we can create more of what we do want. Give what you want to receive. Create what you want more of. Be the change. See.
All right. So something to point out where Anna was stating that Michael in the story was sharing the list of why he was happy, which means he regularly thanks God. He has a list that he's thankful for. So have you done that? Do you have a gratitude list that you try to make sure that you remember, that it helps you, that as you repeat those things that you're grateful for, that it, by the time that you're done, that you're in a much happier place than when you got started? So there's a challenge, just as Anna's challenge is to not lie, right? Okay, let's get back to the agenda and we'll get this wrapped up here. Turn that on. Yeah. Yes, I did. Okay. All right. So some calls. So update on the new general member orientation course. Last week was the first lesson, and we had Hendricks County and Parks County in the call. And thank you very much. This week, which was yesterday, we had Hendricks, Parks, and Miami County on the call. I am in process. I found a free tool to be able to create courses so that we could have an online version as well as an live in-person version of the training course, but it also then gives gives quizzes so that we can do the knowledge review and then a certificate of completion afterwards. And right now it's a free tool. So those that have been in this session's new member orientation, hopefully I'll be able to send them that link eventually soon. Once I've got 2 more quizzes to put together because it's 3 lessons, to be able to get that set up before doing it as a review, as well as then that follow-up survey for everyone to be extra eyes to work through that process. So, but also wanted to point out that there were others that registered so for this new member orientation, but then didn't show up for the call. So while you're registering for it, you got to show up for the call, or else you won't be able to get the information until after the call. Okay, but we're moving towards this to where you actually have to either do it through the meeting on the call or going through the course thing to be able to receive the quiz, to be able to get the certification, because a lot of people like to do ghost things where they'll sign up for things but then don't follow through in showing up to be able to do it and finish through. So got to have some boundaries, because you can't just have everybody saying yes, I'll do it, but then nobody show up to do anything, right? But also there's consequences in order to receive that certificate of completion, in order to be able to start supporting on the committees and actively doing more with the assembly. You've got to have that completion of the new member orientation. We have to have a way to be able to maintain that you have gone through it, not just signed up for it. You've actually gone through it and gone through the material and then challenged your knowledge on it. Okay, so that's an update on where that's at. So there's just a few more weeks and that should be in play. Hopefully, maybe even to start with the May session. It may not be till the June session before that app goes into full play, but hopefully pretty soon. Shouldn't be, but June should be able to have it going where we have more going through it as well. All right, so ensure that you're getting the email newsletters. This is what I've talked about before. Some have said they've been getting emails, but they actually haven't, because we've changed the newsletter service last few weeks because of all the blacklisting from the email news servers. Make sure that you're reading through your spam and junk promotion folders daily. Make sure you actually report it, not spam, then go into your inbox and actually open it, previewing it, doesn't tell the algorithms that you're actually wanting that email. Okay. So, and you may have to do it 3 or 4 times before the algorithms pick it up. You're used to this with hearing it from all your social media, YouTube players and YouTubers and stuff like that about how the algorithms work. You can work with the algorithms in your own email. If I can't fix it for you, you have to, we're self-governing. You have to work through your emails and let them know that you want those emails. Again, seeking ASNs and ASCs to start voluntarily supporting for the General Assembly committees. That email will be going out soon with a list of the different assemblies or different committees for the General Assembly. So you can start stepping up to get into that and get moving. Again, seeking ASNs and ASCs to volunteer tech support on the video platforms. You don't have to do all of them, but maybe you can be one of them to be able to help with monitoring something to help with them. Okay. Be that one to say, hey, I see things out here, but I'm not hearing anything. Or if there's a lot that are messaging in the chat that you can be able to help support things like that. You've been on other calls through Rumble and YouTube and stuff like that. You know how moderators work. You know what that involves, but you have to present your status. All right. We've wrapped up where those that were going to vote on the public law for the record have done it at this point. I'm not going to give any more options. I'll be putting it together for the federal record this week. So that should be going out then by the following week to get it to the Federation to post that. And it will be posted on the federal record with the Federation as well as on the Indiana Assembly's public record as well. And the 2 public laws, the first is claims are stuffed back and authorizes extraterritorial force and administrative expenses. The second one removes any purported immunity. Here is the link to the folder that has, again, the information to share with attorneys, doctors, and everyone, disclaimer information, the sole survivorship template. Now, you can use all the information on the attorneys and doctors and stuff, which there's an updated document in there for that. Anyone can send that, but you cannot use the sole survivorship template unless you have status corrected. You can get in trouble for doing that if you are not status corrected. All right, so again, here are the list of the General Assembly committees that the email will go out as to, so you can be able to say which one that you're ready for, that you would like to participate with. And then I, as recording secretary, will get back with you if there's things that you still need to catch up with to be able to do it. Then you'll need to finish that before you can then start supporting in those committees. Either you want to do the work or not. You've got to do all the steps. So, and one of them is also actually coming to the new member orientation calls and participate in getting onto those calls, so that you have that base knowledge to help support you. You can't just say, well, I'm going to help and then half do this and half do that. It's everybody does their share, carries their own load. All right. We've also presented to the General Assembly, and I think it's even on the Jural Assembly, of where the Florida has put together their election the different aspects of their election process. And there's a folder, high drive folder there that has all of those in it. Anna talked about this where I presented on the Assembly January 15th on slide 15th, talking about some of this stuff as well. And then ever since March 4th, which the Florida Assembly went to action because of Anna's information about the election process, Florida went into action and put together their election process and voted that in on their state. And he's presented that for the assemblies to be able to have that guide. This has been on the Indiana Assembly agenda since March 4th. And on the March 4th presentation, it was on slide 4, and it's been on every week General and Jural Assembly, state that they've, what their thoughts are, any comments. And you can email records at theindianaassembly.org, or you can email me, state court at theindianaassembly.org. Everybody knows how to reach me when they want something, but nobody's commented on reviewing the Florida election process to see if that's something that could possibly be something to work with for over here. So you have to actually participate. I can only bring this stuff to you, hence coordinator. I cannot do all of the work for you. This is you. All right, so here are honest articles from last week from what she did this week. Now, when we come back in May for the General Assembly, it'll be longer because there will be 2 weeks from that Jural Assembly on the 22nd. But here are the ones that she did in the past week. And we read the AFD, Good News for Living People. Again, you have to correct your status in order to start accessing credit. And then we went through a pause to consider, and that's important of things to start remembering to stop lying, which I've brought this up on a few ever since Article 4704, and we're in 4740s to 50s. I've had this up on the Assembly agenda. So teach yourself not to lie, be truly fearless, from Anna. And now it's also having that gratitude list. Take that time and make a list of what you are grateful for. Go to God with that. Every opportunity. 1 Thessalonians says to pray, cease, continuously pray, right? That's what you can do is if you don't know what else to say, thanking God and through your gratitude, right? All right. So here is, now we'll get into the militia aspect to wrap this up. So important. We need to have state marshal at arms. Here are articles for relative to the state marshal at arms, more details in the call to public office and bearing public office. It's absolutely important that we have a state marshal at arms, and we'll include pro tem at the end, but we need to have a state marshal at arms. You will have to status correct. You have to actually come to the assembly calls. You have to actually participate with the assembly. The state marshal at arms is needed. Okay. Here is also that the U.S. Customs and Border control 100 air miles in from the border, which includes all of Michigan, and then from, this is what I can gather from the line from there, because they're not going to be very clear way. So the counties that the line goes through, we're looking for, and on all the counties north, we're looking for your county. If your county sheriff you think is constitutional, find out which constitution they support, right? Find out which constitution that they support. But if they seem like that there are ones that would be willing to be able to support in this process to help Americans instead of immigrants, let's get that information to Joe, the Peacekeeping Task Force Executive Director, as well as he's our Postal Area 4 Chief. So we can get that information to him, and he can connect directly and communicate on their level to support with making that communication. If not, we need someone on your county that has presented their status correction and willing to be that sheriff. Okay. We're looking for, especially these northern counties from within the line and above, that's with Customs and Border Control. And then it's also probably need to around like the major airports for the port entries for like the airport in Indianapolis, and Evansville, I think, has a major airport. Some of the other major airports in the southern area, and because those are all ports. So of course, Customs is going to try and monitor that. We've got to start paying attention. We've got to start coming together and supporting, because these illegal immigrants are trying to come through. We got to be able to, this is where we, the people, as the militia, have to stand up together to protect ourselves and our land, right? And also, I haven't heard anymore if if someone has been coming for the Indiana Assembly to support as an assembly liaison with the Peacekeeper Task Force, but at the same time, they're supposed to be coming to the assembly calls and making that exchange of information. It's not just because you're going there to see what's going on, but yet you're not to any assembly calls where you're supposed to present what you've learned and vice versa, right? November 3rd, 2023, med beds, first generation med beds. Here's information about it. Their website is down here as well. Contact information. If you want to support bring a med bed to Indiana, here's a link to start supporting that directly. Here are the assembly links for you to be able to work through. All right, and just a little side note real quick, as we were talking about the gratitude list, my husband and I, we got garlic breadsticks from Pizza Hut this afternoon, and the young lady that was at the counter, she was actually getting ready to leave, but had just finished up our order for my husband, and another gentleman had come in to get his order, and the woman had said, "Everything's okay. I've already put your order in the oven. The other girl's going to bring it to you." And he's like, "But she doesn't deserve the tip." And the woman's like, "Well, it's okay. But it's all ready for you. She can have that tip. And everything will be ready for you and what you need." And they were glowing, my husband and the husband with his wife, they were glowing about that, the woman at Pizza Hut. And I told my husband, I said, "Well, you know what? That's better than a gratuity tax. That's actually showing gratitude, and you don't have to send it over to report anything to the IRS." And she's now ended her shift with a positive note and feeling good, because she had people that told her that that they really care about her service that she gives, and so now she's going home with a positive attitude. That goes a lot. I mean, obviously money helps in times, but that obviously goes a lot farther than actually having that. She didn't even care about that tip, but it was the energy that was exchanged there that helped change her whole attitude as she's ending her day and then going home to start her time with her family. So that is a great way of being able to exchange that energy and showing care for others. All right, so that was all I had for this evening. Here's just a review. I will be making sure that again, let's see. Johnny, you're on. So we can. Oh, that is you. I'm sorry, John. Sorry about that. Yeah, more people actually start coming. You can be able to connect in the chats, as well as more are starting to come. Then we can actually start planning on having an actual location so that we can all come together. Okay, but it's also, I'm in the way far south of the state. I'm not going to be able to travel to the north part of the state, at least at this point in time with things right now. So there's been times that I'll arrange things where somewhere local here for people to be able to come to have that live, as well as, and I have recorded it in the past too, where it's a live Zoom. At that time we were using Zoom. So that you can be able to also be in the call live, even if you weren't being able as well. All right. Yes, be the change, John. Yes, thank you. And you have, so that goes both ways, not just one. Well, it's only going to go from if you were talking about the AFDs from US dollar to AFD, obviously it's not reversing. If I've got your question on that. Okay. So yeah, everybody seems to, there are some that are in the wait and see. Well, the only one that you're holding back when you're waiting and seeing, you're waiting for yourself, because you're not moving any forward. You're not moving forward. as well as you're not helping anybody else on the state, because while you're busy waiting, you could have actually been doing things to help get things moving for the others as well. Right? So remember, we're not supposed to be lukewarm about this. This is what nobody's moved. You have to actually move to get going. But that's also, and of course, everybody's going to come in their own time. So be that example of, right, John, of being the change. Be that example and showing them that you're changing, your vocabulary is changing. They're seeing that your energy that you're sending is changing as well. And be that example. All right. All right. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to come with us on the call. Stop screen sharing here. And don't forget, we have next week, the 22nd, is the last call for this month of the Jural Assembly. And then May 6th is the next General Assembly. And later this evening, because my husband will be leaving here in a couple hours to go in for third shift. Hopefully that's changing soon. Third shift is rough. When you spent 30 years of your marriage with first, sometimes second shift, third shift has not turned out very well. But he went third shift, but I ended up being a part of third shift. Anyway, so once he gets off to work, then that's really when I'll be able to get in and get the agenda updated, so that we have for the record who was on the call with us, for the counties on the call with us. And it'll be in the Rumble description. I think it should be on YouTube as well. The description that has the folder of where to find the presentation. So it'll be later this evening. And it'll be there as well as the upload for the video. All right. So I wish you all peace and love. Have a great evening. Take care.